How I built a multi-million dollar company at just 20 years old by wholesaling real estate. What's up guys, Zach Ginn here, and in today's video, I'm gonna break down how I actually built a multi-million dollar operation in wholesaling real estate and the exact steps it took me and how I got started and how at 22 years old right now, I run one of the biggest virtual wholesaling operations in the entire country and exactly how you can do the same thing in your real estate wholesaling business. Before we get into it, do me a big favor and smash that like button and subscribe, and let's break it down. So first of all, when you're looking at my story, you know, how I got into real estate wholesaling, my journey, how I was able to amass such a huge real estate wholesaling empire in my local market at just 20 years old, you gotta see where I was when I started out. You know, I was 17 years old, I was broke, I didn't really have much money, and the most important thing is I was where you're probably at right now. You know, everyone likes to think that all these great wholesalers, celebrity type people in real estate, they all started just pretty much brand new. They didn't really know how real estate was. I mean, when I started, I didn't know how any of the repair costs were. I didn't know how to cold call. Actually, when I got my first real estate deal, I didn't know how to cold call. I was very confused on the entire cash buyer process, and pretty much a lot like you starting out. And I feel like when I break down my entire system and my guide and my journey in real estate wholesaling, you're gonna feel a big connection with it, I feel like, and you're gonna understand that the journey to making a multi-million dollar company starting out when you're young, especially in wholesaling real estate or in a company in general, it all comes down to understanding one thing and then just leveling up. It's sort of like a video game. I'm not shy, I love video games, and the one thing I've learned like that is it's just levels. And what I wanted to break down today is my journey up to that point, where I'm at now and where I want to be in the future, and hopefully maybe a guideline for you on how you can do the same thing if you're looking to do this in real estate wholesaling. And the first length level type thing in real estate wholesaling was just starting out, you know. This was when I was 17, 18 years old. That was basically level one, right? I'm just getting this grasp of the industry. I'm doing my first deal. I'm basically making my first 100K. Then it kind of brings us to like 19 to 20 years old, you know. That's really when I started learning the systems. And then eventually, you know, at 20 years old to where I'm at now at 22, really scaling and building that financial freedom that my family deserved, I deserved, and hopefully in the future I can keep going and growing to the largest virtual wholesaling business in the entire country. And I'm gonna show you my plans for that, how I'm gonna be able to do that, and all this stuff. It's definitely a crazy journey, and it's definitely one I want to share with you. And if you want the full journey, again, it is at freewholesaling.com. It's amazing. We have the largest real estate wholesaling course in the country there. Actually the largest mastermind in the country. It's all crazy. But starting out, you know, 17, 18 years old, that's where a lot of you guys are at right now. You know, your first year, second year in real estate wholesaling. I call this basically the grind phase. And this is basically the phase that I was in when I started out in real estate wholesaling. You know, my dad helped me a lot. He was actually huge into real estate wholesaling, and I learned a lot from him in the books that he got when running my own virtual wholesaling business in college, and then my own business starting out when I was 17 years old. And this is really like when I'm starting out in real estate, my entire journey out here, this is really where I'm most nostalgic with. Basically, I was $300 in my bank account starting out, and I had no money really. Like, I mean, I had gas money, I had to pay for a car. I was a bag boy at my local grocery store. I really didn't know what I was doing too much. And when I was 17, I knew bandit signs were basically the only thing that was gonna help me out. And that's basically what I did, and I just started grinding. That's why I called 17 to 18 my first 100K in real estate wholesaling. And when you're looking at your own business in real estate wholesaling, that is really gonna be your quote unquote grind phase. There's learning to a point, but like this is just the grind that everyone really has to go through. It's the muck, it's the ugly stuff. It's not the stuff that's sexy and pretty, but that's the foundations I needed then to get to level 2, which is basically learning the systems. And level 3, I mean, honestly, like when it comes to making a multi-million dollar business working 5 hours a week, I had to go through the 3 levels. So level 1 here, guys, is grind. Level 2, systems, and level 3 is true financial freedom, and I basically go on autopilot. So grind, 17, 18 years old, I was putting about 50 to 100 bandit signs out every single week. I was going on appointments. I had to actually get my dad to sign the contract, so I was 17, I couldn't do that in Florida. Started closing deals, really learning the entire process. And then really like 18 years old, I started cold calling, and really, everyone knows my story. It's like I'm very, very good at cold calling because of why? Because I learned a book, I watched the video. No, because I did the quote unquote grind. Guys, at 18, 19 years old, I was cold calling 5 hours a day, 5 days a week for basically an entire year and a half, almost 2 years straight, but really realistically into my dorm room for like 6 months to a year. And this is really when I just started cold calling and cold calling and cold calling. And if you don't like sports or anything, you just got to put in the reps. I talked to somebody on my live stream last week, and they basically asked me, like, Zach, how do I get really good at cold calling? How do I get good at talking to sellers? The fundamentals of wholesaling real estate. Zach, how do I get really, really good at that? And the truth is, that person didn't play sports, but they loved playing video games, and their favorite video game was CSGO, which is basically like a little pew 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 video game. I can't say the word on YouTube, but basically I said, hey, how did you get really good at that video game? They're like, oh, I played that video game basically 2 hours a day for my entire middle school and high school. I was like, well, guess how you get good at cold calling? Guess how you get good at talking to sellers? You gotta do the same thing as the video game. You just gotta take the action and just do it, right? Get the reps, get the practice, and yes, playing 2 hours in a video game is a lot more sexier and nicer than doing 2 hours of cold calling, but it's the same thing. You are not changing what you're doing to a point, you're just putting in the reps, and that's how I gain those skills. So the grind is really the most important part. This is where most wholesalers fail, and this is really where you gotta just suck it up and just go after it, right? And so I call it the grind process. You're cold calling, you're talking to cash buyers, you're pulling cash buyers list, you're gaining those skills, you start becoming not really an expert at closing, but you start learning different closing techniques and how closing actually works and all the experience. You learn the entire wholesaling real estate process, and you get to a point where you can at least do maybe a deal every single month, if you're just in that grind phase. And then basically when I was 19, 20 years old, I learned a little more that's like, I really shouldn't be doing this full time. Just like all I'm doing is cold calling, all I'm doing is going to appointments, all I'm doing is doing cash buyers. I was getting burnt out. I was working basically 80, 90 hours a week. It was a lot of work. Trust me, I was making very good money. I was making over about $250,000 a year, 17, 18 years old. Basically after there, like 19 is really when I started hitting like, 200, 250, but like 17, 18, 100K, then 18, 19, like $250,000 a year, like by myself. And at that point, basically, I needed to develop systems because at basically $250,000 a year in real estate wholesaling profits, I couldn't work anymore and I couldn't make any more money because my whole conveyor belt system was me doing the marketing, me doing the acquisitions, and me doing the cash buyers. The issue is if I wanted to do any less time and relax, or I couldn't, and that was a problem because I can't make $500,000 a year because I'd have to double my marketing, and I can't double my marketing because I can't double 90 hours a week to 180 a week. That was my biggest issues, and this is when I learned what systems were. Look at the greatest entrepreneurs, like let's do Elon Musk, for example, pretty easy, simple one. He's not making the cars every day. He has robots, he has employees doing the systems for it. Like once you start going to a limit in real estate wholesaling, I basically call it 500K because if you do the margins right, you could probably make $500,000 by yourself. But like you want to start hitting $1 million per year, you're really going to have to start putting in the grind. And that grind's putting in systems in place. That's why at 19, 20 years old, I started putting systems in place. The first thing I was taking most of my time in real estate wholesaling was VAs for my cold calling. Started implementing that, crash and burn with a lot of them, learning how to train them, do all that stuff. Started recording myself cold calling, and that helped a lot. But really putting those systems in place starting out. The VAs were really important. Next one was employees for the acquisitions process, basically doing the closings for me, basically closing these sellers, getting contracts, got a dispo team on there, and really started getting myself out of the market and really just the grinding, the marketing, the dispositions, the acquisitions, got myself out of that. And it worked really well. During this grind time and the systems time, I got a lot of probably the most important thing, which is experience, right? Why do you talk to a really, really good real estate wholesaler and you can just send him an address, he'll know the deal in like 5 seconds if he's in your market, right? And he'll just like tell you what's up with it. And you're sitting there like, oh my gosh, how did you do that, right? The truth is really experience, right? And doing that and knowing the process over and over and over again makes it pretty simple, right? So that's pretty important, guys. I'm telling you, you need that experience. I know exactly what to say to cash buyers because I've been through every type of archetype of a cash buyer. I've seen every archetype of a seller, right? I've dealt with hothead sellers from New York. I've dealt with very mellow sellers. I've dealt with sellers who just want to get rid of the house, no problem, right? And through that experience, I've learned, especially in Florida here, like what are the issues on houses here? Roof, AC, mold, painting, stuff like that. Like I know that like the back of my hand. So in that process too, I know when a seller's trying to screw me. I know when a cash buyer is trying to screw me over in a deal. I know when another wholesaler is trying to steal a deal from me. All this comes back to having so many wholesalers try to steal deals from me, knowing how to deal with that process because I've done it 3, 4, 5, 10 plus times every single year. So that's pretty important, guys, too. But really putting those systems helped me out. I started doing larger margin deals, getting better at my acquisitions process. Basically, in my systems, just getting employees out there, teaching them what to do, and really identifying the best parts of my market. Then when I started getting employees, I wasn't working 90 hours a week. I was working closer to 20 hours a week, just basically being the COO in the operations, working with Rick here together. And basically I was able, because of all this free time, dive into virtual wholesaling a little more, doing some more virtual deals in Michigan, South Carolina, Tennessee, and really started dabbling in the virtual wholesaling process. And once I personally got really, really, really good at that, then I was able to put VAs in there and start doing the process out. And basically when you're at the process where you can hire people out to do most of the annoying tasks you don't like to doing, you get to level 3, which basically I hit when I was 20 years old, making millions and millions of dollars in basically assignment fees every single year and profits flipping properties. And that's really what I call scaling and building true wealth. That's the last basically level here. So level 1, we're grinding, grinding, grinding. Level 2, we're learning a little more actually how to become a boss, right? Running a real business where you have employees in the business. And then level 3 is when you basically get autopilot, you're working 5 hours a week, and that's basically where I'm at. I'm working around 5 hours a week in my real estate wholesaling operations, and then Rick's working there with 5 hours, we kind of do it together. And at this point, I can use those millions of dollars I get income in my business, and I get to buy, cash flowing assets, assets that pay me, regular assets that just go up in value. And really at 22 years old right now, I have millions and millions of dollars that I can put into assets that will pay me for the rest of my life. I don't have to work anymore. And that's the coolest thing. I don't have to deal with a boss. I don't have to deal with anything. Like I could quit wholesaling tomorrow and I'm pretty much set for the rest of my life. And this is when I have the true wealth, the true freedom, the truth where I can do anything I really want to in my life. And that's pretty cool. So I have enough money coming in cash flowing. It's not to brag or anything, but the truth is when you can run a business that works for you, I can do other ventures. I've invested in a bunch of businesses, started other type of businesses where it's making a lot of really good money, which I could have never done if I didn't do the things in wholesaling real estate. And wholesaling still altogether makes the most money for me. But eventually I keep buying enough cash flowing assets, probably in a decade, those cash flowing assets are going to make more money than my real estate wholesaling business. And really the past year, 21 to 22, I've been working really hard with the YouTube channels. Basically got 4 right now and making the largest mastermind, the largest real estate wholesaling course. And the true meaning behind that is I was doing this because number 1, I just wanted to help the people out learn for free. And second is a lot of people, they just can't sell their deals. And I basically created a JVing company, basically a company that would JV with you, do basically real estate wholesaling deals with my team. And we basically split the deal. Trust me, I make a ton of money doing it. We have tens and thousands of people sending us deals, and we're making 50% of these deals. I'm making a ton of money doing that. The wholesaler who's brand new that can't actually get this deal sold, they come to us, we make a ton of money. You only get paid if we can find you a buyer for it. And that is slowly becoming the largest portion of my business right now. And that's something I couldn't do if I didn't get the systems going. So, everyone asks, Zach, why are you doing YouTube videos? Why are you helping people out for free? It's like, let me teach you how to get a contract, find a really good deal, and then give it to our team, and then we'll sell it for the best price, right? And that helps so many people. So if you want to do that, just go to www.flipwithrick.com/JV with me. You don't have to do it, obviously, but I'm just telling you, FYI, like why I do these videos, why I'm working so hard building up the brand for myself is because you guys send me deals, and we're making millions and millions of dollars just in my real estate wholesaling business where I already have the buyer set. It makes it really easy for you guys. And at that point, basically double what I was at 20 years old until now. And hey, if I can 10x my following year, I can 10x the money I'm making the JV deals and hopefully one day become the biggest real estate wholesaler in the entire country without having like insane like $1 million per month of marketing. It's pretty cool. So guys, that's my journey. I'm 22 years old right now. I'm going to be working a lot harder on this channel, teaching you guys absolutely for free, not just so you send me JV deals, but so you can learn a lot more. I have a lot of free time on my hands, those JV guys. I mean, I'm a whole dispo team doing it. So, working 5 hours a week, a lot of free time to do videos like this. So guys, if you got any value out of this, I really want you to understand that you can do the same thing, but I really believe you got to make your first $100,000 in real estate wholesaling first. And then basically when you're starting to scale up a little more, get the systems in place. I have the systems videos all at freewholesaling.com, and check it out. So guys, get any value from this video, smash that like button and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Have a blessed one. Thank you.